On Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, they had Elliotte Friedman on, doing a little interview, as the analysts do whenever they go on the radio, and he had a little bit of an interesting quote to talk about in regards to the Montreal Canadiens and Matt Duchene. Friedman on Duchene. I still think Montreal will take a run at him. They were around at the trade deadline. I think they'd take a look at this in the off-season. Which is something that a lot of people in Habs Nation have really started taking a look at and asking questions about. Should the Montreal Canadiens go after Matt Duchene, assuming he doesn't re-sign with Columbus, and assuming he's looking to come to Montreal? It's an interesting question, and for sure, Elliotte Friedman saying that the Montreal Canadiens would express interest certainly does hold some merit. But what exactly would this bring to the city of Montreal, and how would it affect the Habs? Quickly here, just first though, show of hands. Who would like this and who wouldn't? Comment down below what you think, because honestly, I was looking online to see the online reactions to Friedman and what he said, and I want to say it was about 70-30, the percentages on people saying yes to people saying no. I saw a lot of Habs fans saying, yeah, look at our cap space, we have a lot, and we don't have these super big contracts that we need to give out to our guys. Basically, the only real contract quote-unquote struggle that the Habs have going forward is Lehkonen, and that's not even really that big of a deal. But along with all the other guys that are getting off the cap sheets like Armia, etc., they're certainly going to have room. And whatever happens with Duchene, whether he asks for 8 or 9 or whatever, because, the cap is going up and guys are getting money like there's no tomorrow nowadays, Duchene would mostly be in a ballpark that Montreal would probably be able to afford. With that being established, we can start to ignore the question on would the Habs be able to do it, because they probably would. Now the questions arise on the implications on what would happen if he did come over to Montreal. Automatically, Matt Duchene is the best forward on the Montreal Canadiens. I don't want to sound brash when I say that, because the Habs did have a good performance from a lot of their players this season. Domi, Drouin, all that stuff. You could say Drouin dropped off for the second half of the season, basically, but he was still solid throughout the entire year as a whole. We all know the story with Domi. He totally revitalized his career playing as a center, 72 points this season. There were a lot of good goal scorers and a lot of good point getters on the Habs this season, but Matt Duchene coming in here with 70 points, playing for both the Ottawa Senators and the Blue Jackets, would be the best forward. And I think you could debate that a little bit, but not too much, because Matt Duchene was over a point per game playing for Ottawa. The worst team in the league, Ottawa. Going over to Columbus, the chemistry with the players kind of got shook up a little bit, which is why he only had 12 points in 23 Columbus Blue Jacket games. But in the playoffs, he's really got his mojo back. Right now, 7 points in the 4 games played against Tampa, which is great. And Duchene totally was a fireball in that series, hounding on the puck, going through guys. Such a treat to watch, honestly. But going into the offseason, if he were to sign with Montreal, he would be the best forward on the team. And now the question comes on whether or not you would like to move Domi to the wing or keep him on a second-line center position or what have you, because Duchene obviously is a center, and there are a lot of centers on the Habs already with Deneau, Paling, who you have to consider, and Kotkaniemi. Also, you got Domi, who was the main guy originally, so what's going to happen there? Well, you have to take a look at the options. You're not going to move Duchene to the wing. Probably not. Domi is probably a more flexible option in that, but the fact is he got 72 points playing as a center, so I don't know if you would want to break that up because he was really good in his center role. You could do it for sure, but I don't know if it would be ideal. I saw some people trying to break things up on Twitter. They were saying, oh, what if we have Drouin, Duchene, and Domi on a first line? That would be cool, but I don't know how practical that would be just because of what's been established already as the status quo of the team. But guys like Kotkaniemi, Paling, they're probably going to stick around because, They're young and they've got the time, they've got the talent to be developed into good centers. But Duchene, if he comes in, automatically he's the first line center. And whether or not you want to move Domi to the wing or move Domi to the second line center position, that's all up to you. But there certainly are some decisions that need to be made just by shifting guys around. Whether or not the Habs decide to trade somebody or what have you to free up space to allow Domi to maybe stay on a first line winger role, who knows, but there are lots of options for the Canadiens if they try to pursue Duchene. It's just really good, though, because they do have the option to do that if they wanted to, which is why Elliotte Friedman came on and said that he thinks they're going to do it. And who knows, if it actually does happen, if Duchene goes over to Montreal, then I think the Habs are definitely going to make the playoffs next year. That's not too hot of a take because they were really close this year, but it's pretty nice to think about, isn't it, Habs fans? Hope you guys enjoyed. This video is social links on Gaming, and bye.